Moving over. Hey, we are starting our next hour here. Hour five, we're embodying emergence. Might together we move mountains. The title is flowing and changing as we go, and Allie will frame more as we get into this. Um, I want to show you here this book, Yoga Radicals. It's very fortunate that different people here have books to share. This is Allie's book, Yoga Radicals, a curated set of inspiring stories from pioneers in the field. And I'll share a little bit about Allie as we start. In the Presencing Institute, first we'll say Allie's our very dear friend, and our first with an inquiry group. And Allie was our very first mentor and now a friend. And we're in a David Bowman inspired dialoguing and system of thought workshop inquiry in the workplace. Um, a little bit about Allie from her back cover here. Allie's a longtime meditator and yoga practitioner, business innovator, and coach. She is also yoga therapy training faculty in a program and facilitates social presencing theater, among many other things. She's got a whole new body of work that has emerged since the writing of this. Allie teaches throughout the world. Right now, she's in Jamaica and serves many global clients through her somatic coaching practice. She is also a long term member of the Presencing Institute community, a global awareness based action research learning organization. And she is at alliemiddleton.com. Allie and Thomas Frank Crow, who we met in the last hour, are going to lead us through an experience. Now I will turn this over to Allie now. And I know people are listening in. I know that not all the cameras are back on, but I know that we are here. Giving people like 2 minutes was probably cutting it a little short. Uh, but Allie and Thomas, and I'm wondering if I might be able to um, spotlight the both of you here. I may try to play around with this a little bit. But over to you, Allie.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Kim. And I'm looking at these little squares sitting here in the Caribbean island of Jamaica. And I know that many of you have been sitting for a long, long time, it feels like, right? How many hours, Kim, are people in here?
It's been three so far, a little over about 3 hours and 20 minutes, and what, 20 more to go.
Okay. Okay. And it looks like Thomas has popped off. Do I see him? Where is? No, he's not here. So, in all due respect, relative to this embodying emergence, it feels quite right. Also, being a poet and with another book that is very appropriate for what I feel this project is. I don't know if you can see it. My first
So
collection of
We
poems.
couldn't see that for some reason. Oh, there. Okay.
come forward.
Come
Look,
forward, come
look.
forward. No, I see it.
Uh,
It's a wayfinder's wanderings. And so it's a picture of a person on the planet looking up to the cosmos. So I want to bring in Glenn's prior work, and it's the lyrical work that I found from being in nature before I had my commission for the Yoga Radicals book. So it's super, super important. And I want to say hello to South Africa because I was at the Dharmagiri retreat up in the Drakensberg Mountains, and I had some very interesting cosmological connections with the Zulu ancient practices. So I already want to anchor also those of you at the bottom of that continent and anybody else in South America, because I do quite a bit of work with people in different continents. So the first question as we get grounded and people begin to arrive is to take a moment and to settle in to this body that you have here on the big body earth, going through so much, and reflect for a moment about what watershed are you living on, and name the watershed in the chat. So we begin create in this contextual way that we not only have bodies, however, we are connected through the waters that flow within us and all around us, and that we each are very influenced by the watersheds we live on, which creates the irrigation for the soil, which obviously creates the gravity where we do our work. So that's a very early introduction to what is this contrast of being present on the big body earth in our personal body, so that we might, as was mentioned by Glenn, actually realize that the original form is something we fondly call big N nature. That's about it. And so, the other thing that's pretty fun in the Hudson River Valley, where I mostly live, is that it's governed by a river that moves both ways. It's an estuary. And so I'd like to bring in that little paradoxical framing, Thomas, as we begin to imagine together through some very easy practices of what is embodying emergence. So that as Thomas reads and he does his invocations, my friend from our Bohemian dialogue work, and I might tag team Thomas with a poem of my own, depending upon what comes through me. And then we will invite you first to reflect privately, so that you have a safe space to doodle or write a few words. And then together, we will arise and create something new. After Thomas reads, I incant, he invokes, and then something arises. And there we are in a shared collective creation that I'm calling a collective constellating. So you've got your watersheds. Look at all these amazing new ways of understanding how we are on the planet. I bet you saw things that you never saw before. Yes, look at that. And Thomas, with your permission, I'd like to read a poem that establishes the Iyana metacognition that Glenn so beautifully introduced us to from my book. And then I'll give it to you. And I have this seed from right here, right now, from this swim that I took this morning. And Thomas will choose his poem afterwards, and then we'll ask you a question or two. Okay, Thomas, you're good? All right. So settle back, enjoy. No more flames. Iana, the Sumerian goddess, beckons us, bequeathing her seaweed crown to our eternal ghosts. No longer a hamlet. Driving deep now, never to swim up again. May the moon gate today spread wide, shining even so wide for Indra to see and match from her bejeweled starry sounding of endings in her sky mystery and majesty. And so as waves crash down upon our weary heads, our steeds releasing each and every moment, Each brush stroke thus spoke. The new space created now opening in our hearts and souls so that heaven and earth might kiss our feet once more. Adieu, old friend. Go silently now. Go now, slipping and singing, swimming down into eternal peace once more. So take a deep breath. Take a moment. Settle back to this original story that Thomas and I invite us today to co-create. To you, my friend.
Well, you brought me right back to years ago when we created our bioregion here in the Southern Appalachians, the Katua bioregion. We published a paper that came out 4 times a year. We did a lot of organizing and gatherings and events, but it was too early. It was back in the late 70s, early 80s, and people weren't ready for it. So it kind of fizzled after about 8 or 10 years. But now is the right time. And so I wrote some poems back in that era. They're collected in a book called Crack Light. And a lot of it is very bioregional. It's very nature connected. It's very like um, what Ali was talking about and reading, um, interconnected, and as Glenn was talking about, cosmological. So I'm just going to start off with a very grounded poem called "The Garden," to get our feet in the soil and uh, a place to start from. And this poem, it's interesting how when you write something and then 40 years later, you can tell that it's coming true. So you'll see it in this poem, I think, maybe. The Garden. Wherever there are weeds, there's war. The silence, like battalions of light, is marching through bottoms of boredom toward the forests of greed. In coves where night camps near sleep from the whiskey of pride. In dreams as cold as marble for a bed, on pillows of ancient glass. I walk through the rows of my garden, pulling weeds of darkness where it grows, planting seeds on the beaches of things we would not believe. Where is the woman who writes poems on the pleasures of birth? The man who paints homage to trees? They are growing bit by bit from the soil, little by little from the land. The army's asleep, the machines all rusted away. Life, like a silent spring, spreading out silently, covering the entire earth. So I'll get started with that one, and we'll see where it goes.
Thank you, Thomas. Let's just hold a piece of space together as the land from which both Thomas and I have spoken might connect to the land that speaks through your bodies. So how might we be as humans together during this time of great change, this return? And if it's true that we can create right here, right now, shall we try something together that comes from our hearts? Yeah, want to? One of my mantras, if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. Too hard. So the invitation is to stay seated. If you feel comfortable, and it's perfectly okay to stay seated, I invite you to stand up. And so if that's okay, come on up. Oopsie daisy. And bring both feet nice and solidly planted on the ground. If you're seated, stay seated and just make sure both feet are on the ground. And just by way of bringing in a sense of body and heart and head, just imagine that we have these three places, this head place, we have the heart lung place, but then we have this other place in the torso from which the legs extend and the arms extend. I like simply to call that the four corners of the torso. And in this four-cornered place and space in your body, just like the way we teach on the yoga mats in early cultures, and now we are off the mat, we are in life. And just like Glenn and Thomas have begun to share, there is life of a new sort moving through us. And how do we connect to that life moving through? Movement practices are one of the ways. So the invitation here with your arms, if that helps, is to create the shape, very simply, of a figure eight. You can use your arms to accentuate it or not. And once you get this capacity to have this vertical awareness of a body moving in space, then the arms and legs can actually come to stillness. And we begin to source the energy from the earth. Now, as this might be new or something that you do similarly, the work, the practice is to stay grounded on the feet. And then just like those of you who do the Qigong movements, we lift the energy of the earth up from the earth. I add this symbolic infinity symbol because I love it. It's also helpful for this left-right brain integration to shape the whole body in the form of a figure eight. So imagine that your spine has a paintbrush. Remember the stroke of the brush. And now, with the work of embodying emergence, we come first into awareness at the very physical level. And then there's this space of creation. And this physical grounding practice is the space of creation as it relates to infinity. And that begins to allow this left-right brain coordination, consolidation, to come into one. And so begin to notice if you're overworking the movement. We're in a stewardship moment of our own body-mind systems, particularly those of us who are aging. And so allow the arms, hands to be nice and still. Allow the movement to only come into a very gentle swaying across and over the midline of the body. The arms are now nice and soft and stable next to the body. And we begin to source the quality of energy arising from the earth, moving the weight from one foot and up and over to the other, so that as the torso begins to relax, we're not doing anything. We're remembering that this place and space is something that has something yet to offer, right, in this time of great shift. And so now come to stillness, stop all movements, please, and begin to just stay still. Notice what wants to be recruited to do even more action And see if you can source from the emptiness of this middle move, which is no thing, no thought, simply being present and sensing, presencing the weight of the body anchored through gravity to your spot. And now begin to allow the crown of the head to lift, to reach up through the crown, and then follow that movement with the arms so that you're coming into the shape of a 5-pointed star. Legs are separate. The hands, arms are up overhead. And then I'd like you to begin to think about scooping up with the paws, with your hands, to scoop up whatever other emergent energy is in your space and come into a very little back bend, just a little back bend. So you might look up, as the poems say, to the starry teachers, those starry skies, the galaxies, and then very gently bringing hands, palms close together. And if it's fine for your back, only if it's fine, to actually come together in acknowledgement, leaning toward the screen, to invite this connection with a rounded back, with dropping down and perhaps touching the earth next to your feet. And that's the practice simply of grounding with the figure 8, finding your 5-pointed star, and then bringing it down to the earth, right? This is the creative process so that our actions, that's the next piece, might be something that really has the capacity first to consciously compost and then collectively constellate. And so now as we come to the finishing, just simply bring your hands, palms forward and do the figure 8 in the other direction so that we're matching our capacity to do a rapid reorientation, just like the river that goes both ways, depending upon the tides, the influences, the turbulences. And then come to stillness. Bring one hand on the heart, one hand on your lower belly, if that feels comfortable. And notice, are you on your toes or are you leaning forward with your spine if you're seated? And then come back and see if you can rest so that the soft front body with all the organs stay nice and visible to the energy fields, this social body that has all of the elements coming through us so that we might actually respond with awareness, creativity, and action. Those are the basic rules that we use in the ancient law of 7, law of 3 practices that undergird embodying emergence. Take a moment, breathing in and breathing out. And then we'll come back together. Take your time, be mindful as we return to our collective space. Take your time. We have all the time in the world. And settle back so that together we might do some reflective resonance work, which is the core of embodying emergence. So remember, awareness, creativity, and action from your own body, and then from Thomas's poem, and then the invocation of my poem. Please take 2 minutes to write your reflections without thinking, just a reflection. And then we'll go off mic and we'll get some words into our space. How's that sound, Thomas? What did you notice? What did you experience? Awareness, creativity, and action. Become your own wayfinder. Make some hieroglyphs to remind yourself of what you wish to continue reflecting on. And feel free to unmute and just come in with responses, reflections, or of course you can use the digital.
Ali, thank you for that. It's so interesting you mentioned the figure eight. It's such a natural motion my body does anyway of rectifying and calibrating and alchemizing any moment. And my classroom has been the forest. I live in Hogsback, which is the oldest indigenous forest in South Africa. And the essence of nature in this environment is incredibly loud in its silence. And it's a whole new rhythm in the 3 years that I've lived here, that my wiring, my energy field, my whole core naturally dances in the figure of eight now. So doing this with you now, my experience studying behind here, my eyes are streaming. I'm leaking. I'm yawning. I'm literally just, it's the balancing of the whole energy field. It's incredible how much one actually releases what you're holding on to. So it was really beautiful. And it's such a natural dance that the body moves to. Even in stillness, I can just be with my trees and things and just stand still in presence and almost see the figure of eight, the spiral, and all energy around. It's so beautiful. And looking up at the stars, I can see the energy. I can see the tunnels of light coming down. I can actually see the spiral of the eight, the universal language. Beautiful. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Susie. Other reflections, adds, responses? So from the perspective,
I did a drawing,
yeah,
Allie.
Kim? Okay,
I
good.
just did some there's a lot of circles, and I noticed a red thread like through 1, 2, and 3, and 4. There was the now is the right time that was said and brought through in all the circles so far. And as the land, and I wrote awareness, creativity, and action, and was reminded of on my wall here. I was looking at earlier this morning about democratizing creative thinking as the land, and become your own wayfinder. So anyway, they just all fit together on this
Show
little.
us more closely, please, Kim. Can you bring it close? Yeah.
Well, it's like just really. Yeah.
Okay. No, it was just unclear before. Now, yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Rupin, yes, sure.
So for me, what came up was space to swing, then settle down, and aware of my tail.
Yeah, lovely. So this verticality, the space around us, the shaping, as Thomas said, that began for him in the stewardship project 40 years ago. There's a capacity that's being built as we return in these gatherings. So connecting. So Thomas, are you ready for another poem to inspire us? Something show up?
Oh, sure. There's always room for another poem.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, well, this one, I'll just paraphrase this, but by saying that when I was very young, I saw the flaws in organized religion. It didn't work for me. I saw the lies. I saw the hypocrisy. I saw the uh, movement toward control over mind and body of the parishioners. So I started rewriting the Bible. The Bible wasn't working for me because of all this. So I wrote this. This is my version of the 23rd Psalm. I call it a song of devotion. The earth is my body, and I shall not want. It beckons me to lie down in green pastures. It shares with me its clean waters, and it nurtures my soul. It leads me along the paths of right thinking for its own sake. Even though I walk through valleys among shadows of darkness, I fear no evil, for the earth is with me. Its mountains and its seas, they comfort me. O great earth, you have set a banquet before me on the table of this garden, have filled my mind with revelations, and my wonder grows. Surely the deer and the seasons shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will live in the beauty of this world forever. Imanu. Amen.
Remembering Thomas's introduction, it wasn't quite working for me, is a straight line to this moment to respond, what is working for you? Take that into your heart, as Thomas did, as he rewrote for the benefit of his relationship with the cosmos, as an example, not only of his awareness, but of his willingness to be creative and then to take action. Perfect. And so reflect back into your own life, inspired by Thomas's dissatisfaction. What have you found in your wayfinding that nourishes who you are and how you take actions now? We're here to listen. Kuta, will you join us? What are you creating now and taking action on now?
Thank you for this moment. I'm so grateful for listening from you people and the great topics you are handling that are so touching. And it's very amazing for me. What's actually working for me now is realizing my work with an ecological learning center here near Ngumu in Yaoundé, which we've just finished the architectural design with Journeyman International. And so this center will be a hub for training internally displaced and other vulnerable young people, especially girls, to become steward of our planet. And so I'm enriching myself with these beautiful conversations, especially about love that just ended. And this one now, my ears are wide open and deep inside me to listen to these beautiful poems. So that is what is working for me now. Thanks very much.
So building as if it had been a seed at some point, an idea, and it moved toward action, making it concrete, and then sharing it with others. That's basically what the Yoga Radicals book is all about. That somehow, somewhere, these incredible contemplative practitioners all over the world got a new idea. And then they established a network based upon their deep care and found resources and prototyped, and then established something for social good, not for personal good. And that's the me to we to us journey that we're tracing as we move more toward collective constellating. Who else would like to share? I see Artie. I am from Stardust. And yes, Glenn certainly invoked that in the hour before. And then it lands and locates as something quite able to stay. Do you have a project you want to share?
Yes. So one of the projects that I've been working on is about, oh, by the way, I've been a lifelong student of studying neglect. Hmm? And when we talk about neglect, that surfaces in literally every place, everything that we do, everything that we are, all our relationships to the land, to the mother, to the earth, to the other, just about everything. So I've always wondered what is the purpose of our construct, because human beings are the only species that's gotten that poetic conflict. If you look at any of the species, they know exactly what they're supposed to do once they're born till they die. They carry on the circle of life. And therefore, I mean, the whole idea of how does one look at neglect, I think even in boardrooms at the UN or any other place, even these discussions, we always come back to the kind of education systems we have, the kind of institutions we have. So one of the projects that I've been working on is engaging with children and students and families and literally asking the question that if it takes a village, where is the village? Who's in it? Whoever's in it, do they know they're in it? And if they know that they're in it, do they know what they're supposed to do with it? Right. So the whole idea is actually called Be Well. It stands for Behavior and Well-being as a framework. It's a multi-stakeholder system, but Be Well is also a wish upon the next generation. So to answer the question, what do we leave behind for the next generation? It is literally anthropological. Otherwise, we would have been living incessantly and not be born for just about randomly 60 years, because we are supposed to pass on the stories, the legacies, so that the rest of the generations continue. And by doing that in the present time, we also somewhere seed the idea of taking care of this intergenerational trauma. So to be able to understand what our life location is, what is our life map, how are we situated, it is a parallel that you have to draw with how you are created, and that is from stardust, back to stardust. The only purpose of humans is to constantly humble down, and just humble down. That's where our choices and solutions lie. So there. That's why the poem. And this I wrote a long time ago. I think I wrote this poem in one of the early Connect songs. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you for what you do.
So conscious composting are the two words that I put to what Artie is speaking to. That we have an intention and a capacity to let go. And as we stay present, right, the ancient traditions all say stay present when we're uncomfortable in our practice. And when we become conscious of our practice, the Quechua are very clear on this. They look to the Apus, the mountains, the Theravadan Buddhists, Achan Suchito, who was in Dharmagiri recently, the otherworldly forces, those that we call from our Western mind nature or spirit. It's a substance that operates at the biophysical level. And it's true that there's a quality now using these two words, embodying emergence, of being very humble, as you say, Artie, as the ancient wisdom starts to be present, and we can together lift it up so that we can co-create something new. Right? That's the idea. So this one, Thomas, I'll read. And then would you read one right after? I just want to get this in. And why do I say that? Those of you who are listening? Oh boy, this is hard. Because I know Thomas now because of our Bohemian work together. And there's a shared field that I believe Kim and Rupin are lifting up along with Alexander in the Connectathon. And how might we actually understand that concretely, each in our own lives, so that we together can embody emergence and find the life-giving systems that are emerging. So here goes, not too long. Refuge weavers, guardians of the light, the heart as healer, spine as support, rooted in earth together, breath as intimate touchstone, welcoming energies within and without. The score emerges, aligning and attuning to what is around, up and down, inside and out. Together, we sit to stand, to lie down, to travel through time and space. Together, rhythms, rituals, unraveling the old, unweaving patterns, welcoming the new treasures. Together and now. Behold, we release, weaving the world into being again together. Take a breath.
And then when concludes, we'll flow into the next hour, which Ali, I don't know if you know how exactly how this goes right into the next hour, the collective inquiry.
Okay, I'll finish up our hour then with a poem called The Perfect Work, and it connects with the hour or more that went before us, where Glenn was talking about original love. Get back to the source a little bit here. And this one is called The Perfect Work. Love is the perfect work. A music that rings all the bells in the temple. A special wind in the trees. Listen to the way the drummer hits lovingly his drum. The way the dancer moves over the warm earth. and watch as children leave their bodies behind on the old logs around the fire and sing. The world is aglow in the shadows of the children singing, of the sticks against wood, of the heavy silent breathing of the old ones who sit off to the sides of the circle and pray. When I am at work in my garden, I take off my shoes. I let my other hands embrace dirt. I plant myself in this place, and knowing what love is, I awake in this place in my body, full of dream music, full of life. Blessings to you all.
Taking an in-breath, one last thing, one word in the chat from this last hour. We'll find a way to string them together for a new poem. Thomas and I promise a co-creation. Are you good? One word.
Thank you, Allie and Thomas. Yeah. I think we need to stop the recording, Tim, if you are here. I'm not able to do it.